Hello, listeners. Welcome to this episode of our English program podcast, Kaleidoscope. Listeners, our today's program is a spoken word special by Kavya Srinivasan. Talking about Kavya, she is a storyteller, theatre actor, and a playwright. She has been on stage for the last 10 years and most recently was made artist in residence for theatre at the Intercut Labs, a British Council project for Indo-Welsh creative exploration. In her today's performance, Kavya Srinivasan will focus on the life and times of Kanhopatra, a 15th century woman poet. Kavya will be recreating Kanhopatra's story through her own perspective, and according to her, it is a lens to look at beauty, adoration, and love. So, listeners, brace yourself for this wonderful poetry performance, which will be infused with stories, songs, and spoken word poetry. In Search of Beauty, the life of Kanhopatra.
Hi, I'm Kavya Srinivasan, and today I'm going to tell you a story that is equal parts me and you, and the larger story that has gone before us, the story that is all around us, the story of the pursuit of beauty. The older I get, the more I feel that the only thing I am certain of is beauty. I can bank on the colors of a sunset. It gives me a feeling that the gods are finger painting in the sky. I can count on the opening notes of my favorite Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan composition, heard on repeat to soothe every manner of overwhelmed that I have felt in the last 10 years. I can only ever be certain of the way a stream of light enters my otherwise dark room at an angle so sharp it must be preordained. I don't believe I can trust much else. Certainly not fickle ideas of goodness. How can any action be decisively good in our day and age when every decision is fraught with 100 unknowns and uncertainties? I can't trust happiness, something that has blown in and out of my brain like storm clouds on a June afternoon, pouring down unexpectedly on even the mildest of days. I can't trust knowledge when it has been kept out of the hands of the majority, locked away in cupboards whose keys are in the pockets of the protectors of patriarchy and ugly status quos. But beauty I can trust. Beauty and its pursuit is a recurring theme in my life ever since I was a child. I found beauty in a lot of things others may not have seen beauty in at all. I liked my mother's tired feet. The road roller working on the street, it fascinated me endlessly. A line in a potboiler romance bought for 100 rupees off the roadside would stop me in my tracks. I began to see that these were the constituents of my memories, almost as if I had lived my life joining the dots between moments of beauty. And in the last 2 years, I have begun to believe that this is the path to salvation. You see, I had no hope of being good. I was terribly human. No scriptures would allow me into heaven at this point. I am too jaded and too impulsive. I want too much. I feel too much. I don't like to do what is expected of me. I had no shot of being noble. I don't like anything about the idea of sacrifice. But if there was salvation in beauty and in the pursuit of it, I would have a serious fighting chance. And I found precedence, I found confirmation in the life of Kanhopatra. Kanhopatra was born to Shama, a beautiful courtesan in Mangalveda in 15th century Maharashtra. Shama had the favor of the head of the village, Sadashiv, which meant that Kanhopatra had a huge palatial house in which to run around, but no one who would treat her as a friend, no one to give her love. It was whispered in the village that her father was the headman. Kanhopatra grew up learning music and dance, the two arts that have always stood toe to toe with seduction. I can imagine her playing with her anklets, listening to them jingle. Because what else would she be besides a courtesan? What choices did she have? Very, very few. As Kanhopatra got older, she grew more and more lovely. People compared her beauty to that of the Apsaras, and what's more, she knew she was beautiful. And what could be more desirable than a beautiful woman who knew she was beautiful? Especially for a man like Sadashiv. Shama tried to tell him that Kanhopatra might be his daughter, to spare them and to spare her. But he refused. And when the money ran out, Shama decided something must be done. At this point, things are looking bleak for our heroine. A beautiful, lovely victim of her circumstances. But not Kanhopatra. In one last futile attempt, Shama tries to tell Kanhopatra to just get married. Marriage was the way out of this life, out of this fate. Surely there would be somebody who would not mind her dubious antecedents. But Kanhopatra only laughed. If I were to marry, if I were to devote my life to someone, he must be more beautiful than me. And where would you find a man like that? To Shama, Kanhopatra was making her choice, sealing her own fate. And so imagine, if you will, a room in a once beautiful mansion. A stunning girl sits at a mirror, combing her hair, contemplating her life. Her mother told her that she would be sold to a man who might be her father. Her childhood nurse, Hausa, paces the room, planning, thinking of ways to leave for Kanho to survive. Kanho might not have looked at Hausa at all, but said, I just have to find the one, that one person more beautiful than me. And Hausa might have sat down next to her and said, there is someone more beautiful, more graceful. He brings joy into every room just like you do, Kanho. You must go find him in Pandharpur. I think only he can keep you safe. Kanhopatra's eyes lit up like polished coins. Here it was, hope at last. Let us go, Hausa. Why didn't you say so? We can leave at once. I can't come with you, my darling. The light of my life. I can only tell you that you must begin to walk, and you must walk there. And so, in the dead of the night, when everyone was fast asleep, Kanhopatra left Mangalveda, never to come back to the village of her birth again. She walked to Pandharpur and in the morning light stood at the foot of the temple. She saw Vithala and began to sing.
O Lord, the King of Paradise. O Lord Vithala, my beloved. O Lord Narayana. O Lord, the son of Vasudev.
Aga Pundalika Varada.
O Lord, who granted wishes to Pundalika,
Aga Vishnu Tu Govinda.
O Lord, you are Vishnu. O Lord, you are the cowherd, Govinda.
Aga Rakhumaitya Kanta.
O Lord, the beloved of Rakhuma,
Kanhopatra Rakhiyata.
you are hers, but from now on, I, Kanhopatra, am yours.
Kanhopatra Rakhiyata.
Kanhopatra is your woman.
Kanhopatra Rakhiyata.
Kanhopatra is your servant.
Kanhopatra Rakhiyata.
Kanhopatra is your disciple.
Kanhopatra Rakhiyata. Here he was, more beautiful than anything she could have imagined. She sang and she knew peace. Here he was, the person she was looking for, Vithala. She lived beside the temple now and wrote for Vithala every day. I can imagine her making flower garlands, speaking to no one except the deity, Vithala, her only reason to wake up. He saw her for who she was, not her body, but the beauty that lived within her. He saw her for her music, for her dancing, for her art, and did not want anything more than that she admire his beauty, that she devote it all to him. But back in the village, Sadashiv was enraged. He went to enlist the help of the king to track down Kanhopatra, who he had begun to see as belonging rightly to him. The king, however, had other plans. Hearing of Kanhopatra's exquisite beauty, he decided that she must be his. Little did they know, she already was Vitthala's. And so when word came to Pandharpur that the king's armies were on their way looking for a woman of Kanhopatra's description, the villagers eyed the peaceful woman with the beautiful voice and the kind eyes uneasily. Kanho knew what she had to do. She went up to Vithala and said, "I am yours. Please take me to you, wherever you are, the place where all beauty goes to find itself." There was a beam of light at an angle preordained. And she was gone, belonging entirely to her one love, Narayana. And where she stood was a tiny plant, one green sapling growing determinedly. It stands there, a strong, magical, wonderful tree, to this day inside Vitthala's temple. The story goes that the waters of the Chandrabhaga river rose to drown the armies that had driven Kanhopatra's beauty into another realm. I think about that ceaseless quest for the beautiful. The way in which Kanhopatra arrived at it all on her own, the only woman saint in the Warkari tradition to arrive at enlightenment without a male guru or a parampara. And I am moved, because if I were to arrive at Vitthala's door, I would like to be remembered as someone who looked for beauty everywhere she went. We settle for lives without beauty. A world that wants us to be automatons, to scroll endlessly, mindlessly, a world that would prefer that we were commodities. But the pursuit of beauty is resistance, an act of defiance when stopping to smell the roses is considered inefficient, a waste of time. Bhakti is beauty made tangible, that I can see the full moon and think only of that higher power bigger than me, which is making the trees sing their soft lullabies, that is making my nephew laugh at the sight of the ceiling fan, that makes us wave at strangers from a moving train. Wherever you go today, I hope you can find beauty, ever ancient and ever new, to bring you closer to the place we all will go someday. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed listening to that segment. I wanted to say a big thank you to Shruti Vishwanath, who set the music for Kanhopatra's poem Aga Vaikunthi Charaya. The translations had been made by Chandrakant Redikan. Thank you so much.
So listeners, that was Kavya Srinivasan with her spoken word special In Search of Beauty, the life of Kanhopatra. Hope you enjoyed listening to her. We will be back with another exciting program in this series, which is based on stories and poems of Wari, in which we will take you into the lives and stories of some of the saints in the Warkari tradition, and of course, what they mean to us in our today's world. So that's it for our today's program. Allow me to sign off. You stay tuned as our next program follows in a short while from now.